Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. So today we are going to learn how to create a database using Base, which is a component of OpenOffice. So Base is a fully featured desktop database management system which is designed to meet the needs of a broad array of users. Okay, so first when you click to open the program, this window will be displayed. So you have to click on Database to create a new database. You'll be given an option to choose to create a new database or open up an existing database file. If you already have created a database file and wanted to open the existing file, click on Open Existing File. Okay, but in this lesson, we are going to create a new database, so click the first option. Okay, so on this window, click Registered Database for Me, which is the first option. After saving the database, okay, we want to edit the database and create a table in both manual and wizard. So click on both options. Now we click Finish and a pop-up window is displayed where we can enter the name of our database file. For this lesson, I will enter lab 1.0 as my database file. So this file will be automatically saved in ODF database form. Then you click Save to save the file and start editing the file. Since we choose the option to create table in both manual and wizard, the table wizard will be displayed right after we click Save. So the table wizard is where you can choose a variety of database templates and table samples instead of creating a new table manually from scratch. So in this table wizard, there are two categories, business and personal. So when you click business, a list of table samples is displayed. The same goes for personal. But for this lesson, we won't be using the table wizard. We will create a table one by one manually, right? So this is a table page. As you can see on the left side of the page, there are four labels, okay, which is table, where we can create a table there, okay, queries, forms, and report. Now, let's start creating a database table. First, you have to click on the table labels. You will see three options under the Task tab. Okay, there are Create Table in Design View, Create Table using the Table Wizard, and Create View. So if you got confused in the middle of creating the database, you can always see, okay, the description for each of the options on the right side of the page. So click the first option, Create Table in Design View, and this is how it looks like. So to create the table, we first must have the field name and type. So the field name refers to the name of the column of the table, and field type is the data type for that field. So if there are three field names, the table will have three columns. So for the first table that we want to create is student. Okay, it is a student table which holds the record of each student. So in the students table, there should be student ID, student matrix number, the name of the student, and GPA. So the first field in the table would be the student ID, where the data type is integer. Set the value to auto value because we want the system to automatically generate the student ID for every new student. The length of the student ID, we set it as 10. Next column or field is student's name. The data type for this field is text. As you can see here, there are a lot of data type listed. Okay, the entry required would be a yes, so that field cannot be null or empty. The same goes for matrix numbers as well. So for the GPA, you can choose decimal or float or integer, but for this, I choose integer. Now we're done with the field for this table. So for this table, there should only have one unique key or primary key, which should be student ID. Take a look on the left side of the table. Okay, there is a yellow key beside student ID. So that key is a primary key which has been automatically added by the program. However, if you want to add a primary key to the table manually, okay, you can right click to open up the option and click on primary key. You can also remove the primary key by right click and click on the primary key option to remove the key. After we are done with the field and primary key, don't forget to save. So for this table, we named it as student. So every time you create a new table, the table will be added under Tables tab. To see what's inside the table, go to the right side of the page where there is a drop-down button and click on Documents. Then it will display the content of the table you choose. Next, we create another two table, which is course and student course. So for course table, the field will be course ID with data type integer, course title with data type text, and credit hour with data type integer. So for the course table, the unique key is course ID. For student course table, there are student ID and course ID where both data type are integer. Date taken with data type date and status, which refers to fail or pass, with data type text. However, there will be no primary key for this table. Now that we have created tables, okay, let's add the data into the tables. So to enter data, right click to show option, choose open to open the table. Okay, first enter the name, matrix number, and GPA. Now, when we want to add a new data into the table without completing the first data, we will get an error. Because why? Because we have set the field to not accept null or empty data. Hence, we have to enter student ID and GPA before proceeding to add other data. Okay, so as you can see here, the student ID was not set as auto value, so we have to enter it manually, but I don't want to do that because I want the system to auto generate the ID. So to do that, I have to edit the table. So we go open the table in edit view, change the field student ID to auto value, okay, and done. Now let's go back to add new data in the table. So now in this new edited table, we do not have to enter the student ID manually as it is auto-generated due to the auto value setting. So then you enter the GPA for that respective students. As you can see, when I entered 3.85 in the field, when I move on to the next row, the field remove the 0.85 from the 3.85. Can you guess why? Okay, now let's look at the field data type. The data type for GPA is integer. Hence, any decimal number will be rounded to a single integer. So in order for the field to accept decimal number, we have to change the data type to either decimal or float type. So now I choose to put float so that the field can accept decimal number up to 2 decimal number. Now we can enter back the sample data into the respective field. Now let's add at least 6 sample data into the table. Don't forget to save every time you make changes. Now we have student table with data. Next, add sample data to the rest of the table, which is course and student course. And that is how we create table in BASE. Now let's look at how to create relationship based on the tables we have created. First, go to Tools, click Tools and select Relationships. It will display Add Tables. So now we add all the tables. Okay, now we move the tables to give each of the tables some space. To create a relationship between tables, drag the primary key of each table to the field that is related to the key in other tables. So do that to all primary key. If you want to remove it, right click on the line that you want to remove and select delete. For every changes, always remember to save. And that is how we create relationship for database tables in BASE. Next week, we will look at how to do form. That is all for today's class. If you have any question, just telegram me or email me at filzasazali@yahoo.com. See you next time. Bye!